John Brown is a controversial figure in American history. Many deem him a brave man for his time. Others say that he was the worst murderer of his time. I plan on trying to give you both sides of the argument for, is John Brown a hero or a terrorist? I do not want to tell you what to think, instead how to think. That is a major problem because of my personal bias, but I'll do my best to treat both sides as if it were my own. John Brown was almost always an abolitionist. He was, as best put, a real extremist though. He believed that if the slaves were to be freed, that they would not only be allowed to stay in this country, but have completely equal rights to the white man. For a time, Lincoln thought that the enslaved should be sent back to Africa, and not be treated as equals. But to achieve this, Brown went to the extremes. He thought that to end slavery, he needed to attack the South in a guerrilla warfare style. Brown would help slaves in the Underground Railroad, but when Kansas was put to vote to be free or slaved, his sons went to the state to vote against slavery. When the Brown kids were attacked in the city by pro-slavery men, Brown had to retaliate. Brown would go down to Kansas armed with guns and equipment to help his sons. When he got there, his sons were in bad shape, for they were completely raided. Brown would nurse his sons back to health and would go on the offensive. For the hero side, many who considered Brown to be a hero would defend his actions. What Brown was doing was retaliating in an under-policed state. He would take men from their homes, interrogate them, and if they had pro-slavery views, would be shot. To them, Brown is seen as a police officer, but in a way that might be more aggressive. For the terrorist side, many who consider Brown as a terrorist say that his acts in Kansas were uncalled for. What those men did was just the norm for the time. Both Northerners and Southerners were doing it. And what Brown did was drag men out of their homes, shoot them in their lawn, and force a family that had little to do with the attack or slave owning suffer for years to come. Brown would get a group of men and women together in the Virginian town Harper's Ferry to raid the local armaments. What he did was write a constitution, plan guerrilla warfare-esque tactics against them to free the slaves, and eventually, once successful, potentially join the United States once again. For the hero side, Brown would be seen as a brave man for his plan. Northerners would not want to join, but if successful, would aid in the cause. For many of them to see it as Brown was doing what is necessary to establish a nation where the evil of slavery would be abolished. Then hopefully the South would see the inhumanity of what they did and not just fold. For the terrorist side, many people who hate Brown would argue the fact that Brown would secede from the United States, which is against the amendments, and recognizing that the Confederacy secession would be illegitimate, yet Brown's rebellion had the right to go forth. This bias would either force the South's secession as legitimate or Brown's attempted one to be illegitimate. Harper's Ferry is single-handedly one of the most important events that led up to the Civil War. The raid alone, I can do a whole video on, but I will give you the rundown. Brown would raid the town Harper's Ferry, take Washington's great-grandnephew hostage, take over the armament storage, and take the town hostage. Eventually, the drunken men of the town would band together with nearby militia to stop Brown. After some tension, Brown would have his troops disorganized, killed, and himself stabbed and shot. For the hero side, if you say that this was allowed, your argument may be as such. What Brown did was a raid, but when he raided, he already lived up to his plan by freeing 2 enslaved men. And what he did was brave. Also, the fact that his plan was to end slavery, not to kill people, would be a big piece. Brown actually didn't want to kill anybody in this raid, just get the firearms and free the slaves, then leave. For the terrorist side, if you say he was bad, your argument might go as such. Brown would attack a federal arms storage facility. He would take people hostage and threaten to kill them, kill many militiamen and soldiers, and sacrifice his soldiers, which were his sons, to do so. What Brown did was a selfless act to free people that were being attacked. His plan was to free them. caused some terror to the owners but not kill them. He was actually an extremist for his time, so in this case, to achieve what he wanted might actually have needed force, not diplomacy, which only he was willing to provide. Brown is a complicated figure. He wanted to free the slaves, but in doing so, he killed, though not morally, innocent people. He was willing to do what no one else would do and actually attack the South, but in doing so, would only further isolate the South from the North. Wherever Brown did good, he did bad. Wherever he did bad, he did good. So to classify him as a hero or terrorist may be hard to do. But this is a perfect example of does the ends justify the means. If you enjoyed this video, I have other videos like this planned or already made. This video was hard to research, so if you enjoyed this video and want to see more in the future, subscribe. I suck at ending videos, so I'll just end it now.